Welcome to Panthers Training Camp Live, presented by Coca-Cola. I am Kristen Balboni, the Panthers team reporter. You got a shot right there of the guys in the Dome. We are here in Charlotte for the second morning of practice in pads. And once again, I am joined by Panthers legend Jake Delhomme. Jake, second day in a row, you're joining us from the truck. Early morning out there in Louisiana. We appreciate you being with us.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And, excited for day two. I'm not sure what the weather is like in Charlotte, but it's not so bad here in Louisiana. It's only 75 degrees right now, and humidity's down. So the horses certainly feel good. Hopefully the humidity's down in Charlotte, and the players are feeling the same way.
It's about 70 degrees in Charlotte. When I got up this morning, it was nice and cool, which, I mean, it's hard to believe, right? In August, talk about good fortune for this modified schedule.
No, absolutely. As a player, you certainly look forward to those days, and especially during the camp type of routine, you definitely look forward to a little reprieve in the weather.
Absolutely. And speaking of routine, one thing that we're learning about Matt Rhule is that he likes to switch it up. So we're going to see completely different drills, completely different timing than we saw yesterday. And something tells me that's going to be a pattern with him. And I kind of like it, Jake. As a player, what do you think about that, getting something a little different every day?
Well, you go to a game type of situation. And when you have sudden changes in a game, you never know when there'll be a turnover. Hopefully the offense doesn't have a turnover, but hopefully the defense creates many. So you're going to have sudden change in a game, and that's something that you have to be able to adjust on the fly. The defense could be on the sideline going over some adjustments, and then next thing you know, boom, they have to go to a sudden change, and they're back out on the field. So that's something that you always have to be ready for. And I guess doing practices like this, it gets you in. You don't kind of go, okay, we have this for 10 minutes and this. It's, hey, what's next? It doesn't matter what's next. This is what the coaches say. That's where we go forward.
Well, absolutely. And Jake, that's funny you should mention sudden change and adjusting on the fly, because we have a sudden change right now, and a very good one. Roman Harper is joining us for this live look-in. Roman, how's it going?
It's well. I had to get some kids to school and everything this morning, but overall we're good. Sorry, I'm trying to get my phone because my computer was not acting right.
Well, we love to have you in whatever way we can get you. No doubt about it.
Thank you.
So I want to bring this up to both of you as we get back to this live look-in of practice. So yesterday, KK Short and Mike Davis were running a little bit late, and people asked Coach Rhule about it. They said, is everything okay? And Roman, you mentioned kids getting off to school. Yesterday was one of the first days for Charlotte Public Schools, whether online or in person. And he said, I gave everyone the opportunity to take their kids to school. That's something that he's looking forward to doing on Thursday, and he wants everyone to have the opportunity, since we are here in Charlotte, something that these players and coaches certainly don't get a chance to do. So I figured as dads, both of you would really appreciate it. I thought it was a wonderful gesture.
You know what, man? That's just really just kind of showing who he is as a coach, as a man. The fact that family is always first. Jake can talk about this too. We spend so much time in that locker room where you look up, your teammates become part of your family, and it's so important to where you don't lose that part of it back at home as well. So making sure that you're involved with your children, understanding that the first day of school is so important to so many people, and the fact that we don't get to take that for granted anymore. 4 or 5 months ago, we didn't get to go to school anymore. So now actually having the opportunity to have to actually take our kids to school, it's a blessing, and we should definitely take advantage of that. Hats off to Matt Rhule for allowing players to do that and take advantage of that with their children, because you don't get that back, and it's a special time for everybody, and just really get to enjoy it, because we understand once football starts, it's a long grind. You don't get too many off days, and it's time to go from there. You got a long season ahead of you, and this is just the early stages of it. And it's really good for him to do that.
I think it's great. To be honest with you, just an example of that. On Fridays during the course of the season, when you're playing at home, the broadcast crew that's doing the game, they're going to be in town, and you have production meetings, and there's 5 to 7 guys that they meet with. And I used to always ask as a favor, can I go as soon as possible? Because I wanted to pick up my daughter from school. That was the only day of the week that I could pick her up from school. And just little things like that. Maybe, I don't know how much it meant to my daughter, but it meant the world to me that I wasn't around much during that week. Just to be able to pick her up on that Friday afternoon, that's something. So I applaud Coach Rule for doing that. That's and players respect that. Players, they respect, hey, I'm going to stay a little longer today. I was able to bring my kid to school. I'm going to stay a little longer. I'm going to do a little extra work because this is important to me. But it's also, in the grand scheme of things, you know, this coach allowed me to bring my kid to school, to spend a little more time with them. So I'm going to put in that work to make sure I'm not letting my coach down.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I think, as you both said, it speaks so highly of Coach Rule and his priorities. And one thing that he praised was that the players who took that extra time, he said they were still there for, you know, the very beginning of practice, and the fact that they respected the gesture enough to still get here as quickly as they could. I just think it's an incredible gesture. Roman, we are going to try to make sure we can show as much of the DBs as possible and get your analysis on this. Certainly, this guy that we see right here, Eli Apple. Coach Rule has said a lot of good things about his start to training camp, and he's got, you know, very high. Came into the league with very high expectations, and I know Coach Snow said, Roman, that, you know, it's now their time as coaches to make sure that he can live up to those expectations.
Well, yeah, you know, look, Eli was a top, you know, first round pick for a reason. First of all, let's talk about that number he's wearing, 41. It's a great number. It's a good look on him too. You know, but second of all, Eli has a lot of talent. He's big, he's fast. He can do all the things that you want. The biggest thing was being in New York, it wasn't a great fit. I thought he played extremely well. Some of the best ball he's played since he's been in the NFL was in New Orleans the last couple of years. I think that just the price tag was what the differences were. I think he has a huge upside. I love that he can play off man coverage. He can play press coverage. He's really good in zone coverage as well. Overall, he just has to continue to learn this defense, and they have to be together as one. I think this communication from the safeties is going to be peril, and they have to continue to communicate, make sure everybody's all on the same page. It's not just about Eli. It's about everybody else in that secondary. It's about the D-line getting pressure on the quarterback. It's about the linebackers making sure, running the defense and making sure everybody's on the same page. You know, it's not just about Eli. It can't be just about one guy in the secondary. But, yes, he can be a huge value to them.
I got a question, and you talked about the communication with the linebackers and the safeties. How important, not only the verbal communication, but the nonverbal communication, how important is that to a secondary, to linebackers? Because, and look, I guess we might not have crowd noise this year, but just in general, like you played in New Orleans for all those years. When a team was on offense, it's loud. There's not a lot of verbal communication. So how important is the nonverbal signals, or kind of your own, I guess, you know, own set of signals or eye looks that you can kind of talk to someone about, hey, remember this from practice and things like that? How important is that?
Mm-hmm. No, it's huge. It's all about hand communications and doing it that way. You know, you have to be able to, like, there is no excuse of I didn't know, I didn't get it. Like, it's the fastest way to lose a game is over the top in the defensive backfield. So, secondary wise, you always have to be on the same page. And if you're all wrong, you're all right. If one's wrong, you're all wrong. So that's what it's all about. So what we would always do is pump up the crowd noise as loud as we could all throughout practice, every day of the week when the defense was on the field, just to kind of get everybody used to, using hand gestures and not being able to just yell and make a call or a check, making it very hard on each other, and that we have to use our hand signals. We have to make sure we're looking at each other and communicating always before every play and throughout the play. So I think you have to make it harder on yourselves at practice, so then when you get in the game, it's easy. It's more natural. I'm so used to being able to yell really loud or make sure getting somebody's attention and making a hand check or a gesture just to make sure everybody's on the same page. It's just kind of how it has to go. If you do not have that, then you're going to have busted coverages, and that's always going to be a bad thing. I think the Carolina Panthers defense, I think they did a pretty good job of not giving up big plays last year, especially over the top, but it's just really just consistently making plays, and they can't have guys running free underneath. I think that is what it's going to have to be. So all three levels have to be on the same page. And if you make a check as a linebacker, the secondary has to get it, the safeties have to get it to the corner, and it has to relay all the way across. And it's just constant communication. I think Trey's done a good job of that. I think Trey Boston's going to be that guy that's going to be the leader. It's crazy to me to say that because I'm used to Trey. When he came in, he was just a rookie, didn't know anything. And now he's looked as like the veteran in the group. So it's just funny how life kind of just goes full circle.
Roman, I actually want to ask you about that. So we saw you on Saturday night as we talked about that 2015 NFC Championship game. And after you left on the live stream with Jake and I, we had Kurt Coleman on. And, you know, of course, we all know, Panthers fans all know about Thieves Ave, right? But Kurt Coleman got into this whole thing about how you guys had, he called it an LLC, and how you and Peanut Tillman were the board members because, you know, you were the veterans with experience. And he went all the way down, you know, CEO, CFO, and Trey was at the time, I believe he said, the customer service rep. And then yesterday, Trey Boston was talking to the media, talking about how they are continuing Thieves Ave, and he's getting these young guys really accustomed to that mentality that you built when you were a veteran there and he was a young guy. So here's my question. Is Trey now the board member? Is he the seasoned, you know, is he in your position now?
I think so. As scary as that is, I think so. I think he's upstairs making real decisions now. Look, when the thing was, so I was a CEO, Peanut was a CFO. All right. So we were up there, we would make, you know, and then Kurt had to have like a ranking position because Kurt was older. He wanted a ranking position. So we let Kurt be like third in line. So in customer service, it never would have to get to me. If it got to the CEO, it was like bad news. So now if it gets to me, rookies or somebody's running after practice. Like it's not supposed to come up the ladder. So it would usually go from customer service. Trey would handle everything when it dealt with these young guys in customer service, right? That was Trey's job. Everything had to filter through Trey before it ever got to us because we didn't need any nonsense going up the ladder. And then if it was above Trey's head, he would bring it to Kurt. And then Kurt would have to decide on it, or he'd have to bring it to the bosses, which is me and Peanut, which Peanut never made any decisions. It was always me. Peanut always deferred. He didn't care. He just thought it was funny that he had a position, but even though nobody ever asked any questions. So it's kind of funny hearing that. But yes, Trey was the customer service. He was the best at it too. Took so much pride in it. He took pride in having to actually have some rookies under him or having to make sure everybody was aligned. I tell you, Trey has so much energy. He's the same guy he is now. He just has more responsibility and more guys under him, but he still brings the same juice. I think that's what's going to make Trey special in the fact, not only his ball hawking skills, but who he is as a person in that locker room and what he means to the city of Charlotte. It's really about who he is as a person. I really hats off to him for all the trials and tribulations he's been through early in his career. We just continue to keep his head down, continue to work hard, understanding who he is as a person and who he's growing into as a man, but just, you know, being able to put in the work and the time. And now you're starting to reap some of those benefits, all that work.
You know what? We're going to hit some practice film in a second. And I just know from yesterday, watching some of the warm-ups, and then again this morning before stretch, they were doing some other things. And one thing I noticed, and it was linebackers, D-line, defensive backs, it was working on the strip and then the punch out. And that's something that obviously if they did that yesterday, did that before stretch today. Was that something that you did throughout the course of your time playing the NFL? Were certain teams, did you practice that more than other teams? Because it becomes a habit if you do that all the time. And it looks like with Coach Rule and this staff, that's something that they're making sure it's taken care of.
Yeah, man. Look, Jake, you have to work on it, right, to make it a habit and make sure every time and it's more about just ball production. We're trying to make sure because that's how you get turnovers. You overpopulate the ball, and the second, third guy is the one that gets the ball out. So it's really about making an emphasis on it. We're putting the emphasis on it. We're going to make sure we work at it every day. I like that they're doing it before practice too. So it's almost like a practice. Instead of doing all these plays and walkthroughs like some coaches like to do, let's get a little ball production here because that's how we're really going to be productive. We're not going to always be the best defense on the board. All right, we're not going to be the best defense that has 8 walkthroughs. No, let's work on real football skills and that can transition to the field. And that's going to be ball production, getting after the ball, understanding how we're going to coach these things up, you know, with the long arm reaching for the strip on the quarterback, or I saw that the punch out from behind. I'd prefer the over-the-top rip out or maybe getting that elbow because that's what it's all about. Sorry, I don't want to go too much into detail, but
no, please.
You have to separate the elbow from the body. If you separate, then it creates air and space, and then that is how you get the ball out. That is where Peanut Tillman was so good at because when he punched, he was able to see with that little bit of air. As you can see, if you get that elbow out, that's when you create a little bit of air and gap, and yes, when you get the ball out. So
Well, no,
I would also make sure we try to work on that end.
What you're saying, I think, is fantastic to hear, because when we watched the running backs doing their work yesterday, I just noticed the difference. Everything was high and tight. It almost looked like the Tiki Barber. But that makes all the sense in the world, create separation from the elbow to get air. I think those are the little things that I think fans don't know and don't understand, but they're so crucial to a humongous play in the game, a big turning point in the game.
It's huge. So what I would always was taught as well is if you're coming from the side, if you could get him to lift that elbow right there and then you punch down, the kind of weird holding the phone and all that. So boom and boom and all in one angle, that is how you create another turnover as well. And they never see you. So it's always the second guy. If you go at somebody's low knees or something like that, or you're shooting at somebody's legs to kind of shoot up under them, the first thing that they do when they get up to protect their money, because they want to protect their legs. That's their money. That's how they make their career. The first thing that happens is when you go up, the ball goes out. Second person has to go for the ball. It's just more of a mentality. You have to continue to show it on film. You got to show different examples of it. And then next thing you know, you'll start to see it in practice. And when you start to see it in practice, you'll start to see it in the game. And that's how you get more and more turnovers. You get your offense back on the field. You don't have to be the number one defense in the NFL anymore. Nobody cares about that. It's all about creating turnovers. It's all about creating big plays defensively for your team to give yourself any kind of type of advantage.
I absolutely love that. And that's why it's so cool getting to talk to both of you and see these practices from your eyes, to learn about those little things. So Roman, I have a question for you. When you got into that veteran role, this is a very young team, when you got into that veteran role, what are some of the things that, during these practices and you're seeing a lot of reps, things that you either loved to see other guys do or you couldn't stand, and you'd say, hey, look, stop that? Is it about the effort? Is it about the technique? What really stood out to you when you would see a young guy trying to make his mark?
You know what? First of all, I'd never slow down a young guy. I would not try and go with them all the time, but you can't hate on the young guy because they got to be passionate. They got to have the drive. And I was that same guy too, right? You're just trying to make your mark on the team. But one drill that I hated is always like stalking run blocking drill, because wide receivers hated it. They're not great at it either. They don't care about it. They're only there to catch touchdown passes. Jake knows it. I mean, you find one wide receiver every now and then. Like Moose could block, but that's because Moose had to learn how to block because he was so big and he had other guys around him. So like it's a certain way around. The same way with some of these tight ends. Like they all just want to catch the ball until, hey, you're just a blocking tight end. Then you got to get good at blocking. So that to me was the one drill I hated, was that one. And also whenever I had to do like a pass rush drill against a running back or a tight end, when they knew I was coming. So because that, like, it doesn't happen like that in the game. They usually I can catch off guard or I'm coming from distance. And then it was more of just a drill. And I'm not a big, strong guy like that. So the moment one of these guys would put hands on me, it's unfair because I'm like, it's not realistic. But other than that, it's all good. It's all good. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Or 7-on-7 drill with no rush on the quarterback where he gets like 5 seconds. And then he acts like, oh, I'm completing every pass.
Right.
Oh, something
it's
tells me
completely an offensive drill.
Yeah, something tells me Jake likes that one a lot.
I said that yesterday. I was not a fan of 7-on-7. It's unrealistic. Give me a line. Let me move. Let me throw through a window. I agree with you on
Jake,
that.
Most
I don't know if
quarterbacks
you
would
can...
not say that. Most quarterbacks would not say that. They don't give you that up. But yes, it's a complete offensive drill. It's not.
Right. I agree. And I don't know if you have footage, can see some of the practice going on. But again, they come out of stretch. The receivers have both footballs in the hand and DBs on both sides punching. I mean, this is something that's a big emphasis on this staff. And I think that's absolutely outstanding because it goes both ways. These receivers are going to learn. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming there's some type of competition in camp of who creates turnovers. And there could be something at the end of camp on who wins, who creates the most turnovers and or on offense. Unfortunately, if somebody would have fumbles, I mean, that's what you enjoy. It's competition. It's all about competition.
Yes, they will have ball production on a chart. So I'm sure they're keeping up with it. Numbers of how many attempted trips you have, who's doing what. Like they're going to have plenty of it. I like that they're actually flipping it over where now DBs are running with the ball. It looks like.
This is cool.
I think that's
let me tell
great.
you something. I think it's great too because you don't want to give the ball up, but I'm being realistic. If anybody comes close to me, I'm going down. I don't bring tackles. I don't get paid to break tackles. I don't get paid. And like, if I'm about to catch it and somebody hits me, I'm not going to catch it. I would be very honest about that. I don't get paid to do any of that. So it's a different drill. I like that it's bringing energy to practice. That is what this does. This is really not about like making sure Eli Apple has great ball security. It's more about bringing the energy and like they're doing. They're getting fired up because it's competition. It drives you. It's something different that you have not done before. And this is what you need to do to get a good energy before practice is going. So I applaud that. Look at guys run around. They're probably going to run to it, break to an individual right now, get a little water on the way, and let's get it going. I like that the early juice, the different type of things that they're doing to create competition within your own units and ranks. It's always a good thing.
Absolutely. And Roman, I think you hit the nail on the head with what, from the very limited amount of practice we've been able to see, as it's just been open to the media, we can tell just how high the energy is. I mean, there's music playing all the time. They are, as you said, running to their next thing. It's really cool. Taylor Moton, we talked about this yesterday, but Taylor Moton said, we're getting in 2.5 hours of practice in an hour and a half. So, I mean, you got to love it. You got to respect it.
I mean, I'm a little jealous, especially depending on who the DJ is. So it's always good to have music. I think that's a younger generation thing. All the college coaches do it now. It's what goes on now. They all keep it going all the whole time. I actually enjoy it. It's very entertaining. And it doesn't cut down on the communication. And also when we're doing our third down defense and some other skilled positions and nickel defense that we're repping, right? Like just like Jake was talking about, we can play the music because you normally do crowd noise, but just have the music cranked up really loud. So we're still working on our skills that are going to transition to Sundays, which is hand signals, making sure we're working on our silent communication, making sure we're all on the same page, making it harder on ourselves in practice. So I really like that, including making the coaches work on the hand signals as well, because only one person has the handset. So I never went back to the huddle as a safety. I like just getting the call from my coach on the sideline. So making him make sure we get that line of communication going as well. So now we got our hand signals going from the coaches, the players. So now I can just talk to my corners and safeties, and then I can communicate to a linebacker or two if I need to. There's no reason for you to go up there and talk to KK Short, all right? Unless he's getting out of his gap, then we got problems. But we can handle that. But, overall, I like where this is going. I like the energy that they're bringing, and they will continue to work on it. It looks like some individual drills right now they're going to –
yeah, we're going to keep it on. We're going to keep it on DBs for you if we can. I'd just love to just get your thoughts as we see it start to unfold.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, one guy that
This is going to be a looks like some kind of. It's going to be a run blocking drill. Oh, Trey's needs some help. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No. This is what we want is for you to tell us what you see.
Well, it looks like they're working on some backpedaling drill. Looks like they're both playing some kind of quarters or some kind of communication drill.
And so right now, just for anyone who doesn't know, with this being in Charlotte, they are doing everything in the dome right now, and then the rest of the team is out on the field. And Roman, just so you know, and for everyone watching, if you didn't watch with us yesterday, they went ahead and put the starters in black on defense, which is great.
Yeah, well, look, most of the time, they put the starters in black. I was wondering what was up with the jersey. I didn't realize that.
I should have mentioned that earlier. That's on me.
Yeah, I was like,
why? What's going on here?
I thought they were like going against receivers, but then I saw 23. I'm like, that's a DB number, so it's a little different. But okay, hey, whatever they do, like the black shirt defense or however I'm cool with it. It kind of takes me back to when you were trying to separate things and really kind of, earning that sense of like I'm a starter now. Right. It looks like they're just working on leverage drill right here. So we're working in and out, working on a small back pedal. I like that fact of it. So many college DBs do not know how to backpedal anymore. In the NFL, Why? You have to look because they all want to press or they play like a trap type concept where they just side shuffling, but they do not backpedal anymore. And I think you have to learn how to backpedal as a defensive back in the NFL. It's so key to be able to backpedal, weave, to be able to keep your leverage inside or outside leverage. And now, because you have to play in space, you can't pull and tug on DBs after 5 yards in the NFL like you can in college, which so many bad college DBs get caught up in all these bad habits that they create because you're able to physically dominate guys all the way down the field as long as the ball's not in the air. So you pick up bad habits. And I just want to press so then I can get hands on and then just run with the guy, right? And then I can mess with him the whole way. terrible habits. All right, because it doesn't transition over in the league. I like guys that can backpedal, that are smooth, that can keep their level, their pads level, be able to transition in and out and create. And really, when you see the wide receiver break, you got to drive to that close to that near hip and be able to create and make up that ground right there. That's a good transition. I don't know why he's going to 45 outside when he seems to. I would rather him going 45 in a downhill break, but I don't know the drill exactly. But everything I do as a DB is all in a 45-degree angle, right? Where I'm 45 degrees going forward with a press jam. All right, going forward either way, left or right. All right, I don't want to go sideways, because if you go sideways and you shoot your hand, the moment you miss with that hand, the wide receiver's already by you. Go 45 either way, backwards or forwards. That gives you a little more leadway, so where now my hips are closed off and I still got a chance to be able to recover. So 45-degree angles are huge for me.
Oh, that's great stuff. I love
just feel
hearing
like I learned so much.
The nuances. I mean, that's what I love hearing, all these nuances of playing defensive back and explaining the leverage, because you don't have help inside, or you have help inside or outside if you're a slot, whatever it may be. Those are the little things that I guess the true, fans, they don't really know, because everything's predicated on coverage and the look. But that's exactly right. I love hearing everything that goes into. It's not just covering a guy. It's covering a guy with a purpose, according to the defensive that is called.
Not only that, but also like understanding where your help is at. So if I know I got inside help, like there's no reason for me to be quick on a double slant or something like that. Like, you got somebody there. Allow for the coverage to dictate what you're doing. And also being able to chop limbs off the tree, depending on where the wide receiver lines up at. Like, all that goes into film study. All that comes into later breaking down. We don't have to continue to go down that path, but that is what it all comes down to. That's what the best DBs are, right? They're able to turn their athleticism and extend that longevity in their career, because now they're smarter. They're playing the game. They're not just playing the game. They're like really playing the game. And I think that is a difference that's the same thing I'm talking about with Trey Boston. Like, all of a sudden now he's understanding like what he's trying to do with, all right, well, if I show this look, I know what the quarterback's thinking, right? And now knowing that if I line up on this hash, the whole time I want to get to the other hash, but I'm going to take away this whole side of the field by my alignment, knowing that my eyes and my body and everything that I want to do is on the other side. And then that is how you go make a play. So it's all about those things. So now I'm learning how to make my own play within the defense, the grand scheme of it. And I think that is the thing that Jackson will have to continue to do. He has to continue to learn how to play every snap like it's his last. Every snap, they're coming at you. And, the early success he had his rookie year, sometimes that can be fool's gold. And sometimes you start to read your own paper clippings way too early. So now you got to lock back in. You got a whole bunch of talent. You can run. You can do all these things. But everybody's that good in the NFL. If I don't lock in every Sunday, next thing you know, I can look up and I'm not even as great as what everybody said. It's very humbling.
This is invaluable, the knowledge that we're here. No, I'm being serious, because
absolutely.
Listen, you talk about, and it's the glamour positions, the running back, the receiver, the defensive end that gets sacks, the quarterback, obviously. But and I can't wait. Hopefully we can get an offensive lineman at some point and see O-line drills, because that is a different language. Well, I think the same thing for the defensive back. I mean, you just basically gave us, DB 101, and that's just the beginning. And there's so many more things that you add on to it. I think that it just lets people know how intricate details are and how important they are to each particular defense, play, coverage, whatever it may be.
No, Jake, you're so right, man. My off-season goal, man, before COVID hit, I wanted to go to like OTAs and minicamp and really just sit in an offensive room, right, and just learn, because I know what plays look like and I know what certain concepts are. Like, why shallow usually or always equals X dig, especially when you were playing quarterback with the Panthers, Jake. Why shallow always equaled X dig for you guys. Like, that is where I learned it from, was playing against you and Steve Smith with you guys. Why shallow? As soon as I saw my tight end go under, I need to look up a dig. It's coming somewhere, right? So those are the things that But what do they call that play? What do they call this? What do they call these concepts? And why are they attacking certain areas of when they see certain defenses, right? Like, that is why I don't love quarters defense, because every offense has 8 quarter beaters, right? Like, we all got one of those. So we only got 3 or 4 cover 2 beaters, all right? Or we only got so many of this. So that is the back and forth that so many people don't understand. And if you can't just, when you watch football, I tried to tell my neighbor this one time. I said, look, when you watch football, like, I don't watch the ball. I watch everything else. And naturally, my eyes will take me to the ball because I know what I'm looking at. And most people could actually understand that, Jake. Like, all right, if I look at everything else, I look at the leverage, I look at this, right, when the wide receiver motion's here, they're all telling you a story, all right? You just got to be able to read the book. Every time the offense breaks the huddle, they're trying to tell you a story. You just got to be able to read the book. You got to speak the language. You got to understand what means what. And I think as I learned that as I got older, that is what I started to get really good at. I knew the language that they were speaking when they broke the huddle. That allows you to play fast, allows you to anticipate what's going to happen. And, overall, it allows you to stay in the league a little bit longer.
I mean, I feel like I've gotten a master class, right, Jake? Just in these last few minutes, I absolutely love, Roman, getting to pick your brain and just having you react to what you're seeing, even just the drills. It's been absolutely amazing. So the team has just entered the team portion of practice, which unfortunately we are not able to show. But okay,
they're going through practice so fast, though. I give them a lot of credit. They're getting a lot done in a short amount of time, really keeping everybody off their feet. I apply Coach Rule for that, man. That means I think they're doing a lot more tape that way then. That means we're going to get in, we're going to get some stuff on tape. We'll correct it in the meeting room, and we just want to see as much as we can. And I think that's really good, especially with a youthful team, is that sometimes we're going to there's no reason to waste our legs or waste our time when we got 4 weeks of we're not playing preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that in 4 weeks of that, we're all going to be together. So let's stay as healthy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try and stay up, and let's make as many corrections as we can. So let's get through as much as we can, correct it in the meeting room, and we'll continue to learn that way. I think it's just a different approach to training camp that we have to get used to seeing. This is going to be the new normal for right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you hit on exactly the things that Coach Rule said in why he is doing it. Well, first of all, he said, look, we've always gone fast. He said, if you saw me at Baylor, we were going 10 times faster because we didn't get into a huddle. But you're right. He said, we want to keep guys healthy. And we also want them to condition so hard and practice so hard that by the time we get to a game, everything slows down and feels easy for them. So, and they're varying it up. Jake and I talked about that before you joined us. The players don't know, and we don't know what exactly we're going to see. And it's not just the same schedule every single day. He wants to throw different scenarios at them. So like you said, I really like it a lot.
I really do. I think that's great, especially throwing different scenarios, especially with, Mr. Tepper was big on, he wanted to use, what was the big word? Analytics, right? You want to use analytics. That was like the new thing, which analytics means what to so many people, right? So on first and second down, when they offense breaks the huddle, and they come out in these formations, they throw this is a rat key, right? Which means run. Or bird key means through the air, pass. So they line up in I far. Jake knows what that is. I far, all right, that's pass versus I near, 85% run. Is that analytics? So as soon as I know that's that, or is it analytics to say that, all right, well, between this yard line and this yard line, if you go for it on fourth down, we get it percentage-wise, da-da-da-da. So are you going to implement that side of it too in practice to where now, at least defensively, we know, hey, offense is going this time. So we got to be ready to go. We're not just getting ready for the punt team up. No, we're going for it on fourth down. So now third down practice, boom, we practice a third down play. We're short. All right, fourth down and 1. We're not even going to line up. Don't even look over here. You know we're going for it. Right, ready on the ball. So now you keep everybody out there, and now you're actually getting everybody off guard. Defenses will not be prepared for it because we're not ready for it. We'll have to make a quick signal, try and get something in, but you know what you're going to get then. It's probably going to be man-to-man coverage on fourth and 1. So now you can run crossers, you can do some other things, crack toss, things that can really catch you off guard. So that's another way you can implement analytics into your game if you're actually going for it on fourth down, is actually putting your team in these positions to where you don't even have to think about it. On Sundays, we already know about it. That is how you get an advantage, and you don't even know you're creating one, because not everybody practices this. And I think that is one thing. I practice with New England. Situational football, that is what they are really good at. Mm-hmm. And because you practice all these situations in practice, when they happen in the game, some teams you think but a lot of teams don't practice these situations. So that is where you get the advantage at, and that is where you create every inch. That's all you're trying to get on Sundays. Everybody, Jake knows that. You just want some kind of advantage. I don't care what it is, but you'll take it.
All right, you mentioned analytics, Roman. I got one piece of analysis left for the both of you. I'm really going to need you both to lock in for this. It's our Coca-Cola Better Together moment. This is the hot dog eating contest from last week, and it got competitive. So I want you guys to take a look at this and tell me what you think.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the first annual hot dog eating challenge here at Bank of America Stadium. Put 2 minutes on the clock, 2 minutes on the clock for the championship. On your mark. Get set. Go! And here we go at a furious pace. That's about 6 down for Tech. Once that's done, that'll be 6 removed for Tech. Tech is moving. 3 remaining. We got 3 remaining over here. Etor is on fire. All right, we're in the last minute. We're in the last minute, guys. How we doing over here? I'm going to take a step back from Bravion because I don't like the look in his eyes. Eyes watering and struggling here. 20 seconds. And that is time. 18 on this side and the winner. Defensive line.
All right, the rookie D-line took home the dub in that one. Yetur Gross-Mato said he ate 9 hot dogs.
I love that. I mean, listen, before we started, I didn't know who was participating in this. But I was going to say, I promise you it's not some big fat guy. It's somebody that's a little leaner, and Gross Matos is a leaner type defensive end. So I'm not surprised at all. I've never seen this happen on a football team, and I think it's awesome. I think this is fantastic. That made my day.
Hey, I can't stop laughing. That's awesome. First of all, I'm a huge Nathan's hot dog eating contest person. I watch it every 4th of July. I'm like religious about it. It's like the best hour of my day on 4th of July. It's awesome. So for them to do that, I think it's hilarious. And it's awesome to make rookies do it because that's what we do to rookies. They need it to humble them. They all need it. They all have to go through it because we all had to go through it at one point. So it's just really cool to see all that. Hand clap for them. That was awesome. And
now, I didn't see any bread involved. So I was
wondering, is it dog and bun? It's supposed to be dog and bun.
I think we have weight clauses in there. So I don't know if there was weigh-in the next day or the day before, but I didn't see any bread. So they tried to make it somewhat healthy, I guess.
It makes it easier because, like, the professionals, like, the whole getting the bread down is the part of the water taking in the whole 9. I watch it. I would never do a hot dog eating contest. I'd probably get like 2 or 3. And I'm like, all right, that's it.
That's a good point. Who knew Roman Harper, an expert in the hot dog eating contest, as well as all things defensive backs. Guys, this was a blast. I appreciate both of your expertise. Appreciate both of you getting up early to do this and give us that insight into these padded practices. So Roman, Jake, thank you both so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate the knowledge that Roman spewed out on defensive backs. I mean, I've heard these things and whatnot, and the inside out lever and things like that, where's your help? But just listening to Roman explain each and every detail and why it's so crucial. He's talking about coming to offensive meetings to understand on a shallow cross, you have a dig on the backside. Well, there's a reason we're doing that. We're going to stress the backside wheel linebacker. And we're gonna have a kind of high-low between him on the backside. And when you have Steve Smith on the backside, that safety is gonna stay deep because he's petrified. Steve's gonna run past. So there's a cavity behind there, and if you can get it to Steve, good things usually happen. But little things like that's what I enjoy more than anything. Just getting the little nuances and hearing that from Roman was fantastic today.
See, Jake, thank you because you just gave me the why. Right? I understand what offenses we're running. I want to know the why. And right there, you tell me to stress on the wheel linebacker. And you know exactly what you mean when you say that. Yes, that is huge. And if you play man-to-man or you got quarters, hey, you got outside leverage on that corner. Your wide receiver is going to break inside and run away from that anyway. It's all really good stuff. And I appreciate you guys for having me. You know me, I love ball. And anytime I got my eyes on it, I always watch it. And I don't need to over-talk it, but I know a little bit. I know a little bit. So thank you.
I feel like we're the recipients of, Taylor Moton talked about getting 2.5 hours worth of practice in an hour and a half. I mean, Jake and I learned a ton just in about 30 minutes from Roman Harper. And Jake, I love the horses in the background making an appearance. I mean, true dedication on your part.
Yeah,
I really, I mean, seriously.
It's still 75 over here, which is
what?
It's 8:30 and it's 75. Yes, we're on a reprieve right now, so we're in heaven.
That is never like that down there. Never that way.
It's cool here in Charlotte too, and the players are loving it. Gentlemen, thank you again. This was a blast, and thank you everyone for watching. Check back in with us Thursday. We'll be showing you some more live look-ins from practice. All right, we'll see you then.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
Roll Tide.